So, James Earl Jones recently passed on this year. He was, 91, 92, something like that, but has one of the most legendary filmographies and stage play list of all time. Of course, he is the voice of Mufasa. He is the king in both Coming to Americas, and of course, he played in what is now considered to be a cult classic, Conan the Barbarian, and also Star Wars. I've heard of this one throughout my life so much. I've never seen Conan the Barbarian. I'm aware it was like the first movie that Arnold made to ensure a successful career before becoming the governor. Yeah, I've never seen this movie. I've known about it. It's a heavy metal album come to life. Manowar, Virgin Steel, Baroque Helm, all just the traditional power metal bands. US power metal to be precise, and some European bands. Not the flowery kind, but the more traditional ones. Halloween, Gamma Ray, Gravedigger, Running Wild, etc. Anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger stars in the original action-packed epic adventure Conan the Barbarian. Following his parents' savage murder, young Conan is captured by the cold-blooded Thulsa Doom, James Earl Jones, and spends the next 15 years in agony. First chained to the wheel of pain and then enslaved as a pit fighter. Rather than allowing this brutal fate to conquer him, Conan builds an incomparable body and an indomitable spirit, both of which he needs when he suddenly finds himself a free man. Aided by his surfer, Subutai the Mongol, played by surfer Jerry Lopez, and Valeria, Queen of Thieves, Sandal Bergman, Conan sets out to solve the riddle of steel, seize ultimate power, and finally take revenge on the warlord who killed his family. Robert E. Howard is what I consider to be one of the most legendary fantasy writers of all time. I mean, Fire and Ice alone influenced so many Cirith Ungol album covers. So Frank Frazetta probably even took influence from him. And, he died too young, but when he made Conan the Barbarian Running for Weird Tales, this is how he probably envisioned his tale coming to life. And, stylistically, this movie is just, holy smokes. I mean, the sets alone, for $20 million in 1982, which I'm guessing would probably be $50 million, $60 million, I don't know, for inflation, but you just look at it, and visually, this movie is striking. It's impressive. They took their time. Of course, it was also written by Oliver Stone, who did Platoon, so this helped out a lot. There were a couple of violent scenes. There was some blood. I was surprised by it. This movie is genuinely very stylish, and it's style done right. It's not just, ooh, look at it, it's pretty. It's there to represent the pastiche, the pulp, if you will. Yes, this is a pulp movie with the characters. And, I mean, the sets alone, the first one where they go into the tower about 32 to 47 minutes in, where they just go around just pretty much, but I can only describe it as a snake orgy. I'm like, this is a very weird thing, this snake orgy going on. But anyway, it's just interesting to see how they decimate everything. This giant snake just gets killed, gets billed, I mean, just the sequence alone, sequentially, when these action scenes happen, I mean, this is epic action going on. I mean, the long hair. I mean, I love the style of this movie. And then with the king of Max van Sydow with a beard, and he says, "I will pay you handsomely," and gives them all a massive amount of rubies, and eventually they get to the temple where another snake orgy happens or something like that again, and the trio do manage to assassinate a whole bunch of the cultists or followers or the underlings, I guess, of Thulsa Doom. Boy, it was done without any words. I mean, there is like a little bit of grunting, a little dialogue, but just the violin playing for all the savagery that's going on. I love the paradox. That was funny, or was meant to highlight the action of this Richard Wagnerian opera. That's pretty much what this is, and it's just wow. I mean, just imagine, just like, okay, you get over here, you go boom, 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 you slam them all down, and it's just like, wow. It's choreographed really, really well, and everything is practical. Maybe there's some like illusion stuff going on with the camera and things like that for the snake, which was like, okay, I could see that. Music is great. Yeah, I mean, it's like an epic orchestral sweeping score that I found to be really great, and it fit the tunes. I mean, then of course you also have the themes of the Riddle of Steel. What is this Riddle of Steel? Well, it's the weapon that a man trusts above all else more than, how the father describe it. If you've seen, you know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, it's like in most fantasy novels, when a sword is introduced, either the sword is legendary or it's the warrior itself that makes the sword legendary. But then again, the man is not defined by the sword, but the strength that he has, that in conjunction with it ultimately determines who he is as a man, and not just with like muscles or anything, you know. There's also death going on, where, of course, they're like going to like the snake orgies and things like that, and you know, it's like death is something that is inevitable. Will you live and die on your own terms, or will you be part of a cult? That is what I gather from it, and I found that to be quite something to answer. Of course, there's the scene like where they go and visit Mako, this wizard who is played by Mako, also appeared in MASH of a couple of TV series, and also voiced General Iroh in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He plays the pulp wizard, if you will, and you know, there's the scene where the souls are coming clean Conan's body, which they must have just done with like rotoscoping or whatever, and it looked really nice. You could see the struggle that both the characters, Valerian and Valerian and Subotai, are trying to do to prevent him from ascending to Valhalla, because there's still some work to be done. Yeah, I mean, and of course we gotta talk about Thulsa Doom. That is some hair. That is some hair. I was a little disappointed. It's like he posed a threat, but at the same time, towards the end, he was going to try and mesmerize Conan. So like, come, my son, I have made you who I am and whatever. And you know, I thought that there would have been a little bit more of a climactic showdown between the two. No, there wasn't. He just gets decapitated. I'm like, that's it? He just gets decapitated? We don't even get like a 30-second struggle? I mean, yeah, he can memorize it because he's got thousands of followers, and even turns a snake into an arrow, says, seek. But I thought there would have been a climactic showdown with the army towards like where the wizard was and everything, but instead albeit it was a very nice set, it was anticlimactic, and I'm like, that's it? And then he throws the head down. There's no music, no dialogue. I'm like, what is up with this silence? Just the silence was off-putting. And so at the very beginning, where there's Thulsa Doom's army, looks at the mother, like its camera shifts from the mother to James Earl Jones looking back, like, you know, it's your move is like, what, are you gonna move your chess piece or not? It's like, are you going to say something? Ultimately, thwacks the mother. I'm like, what? That didn't make any sense. So it's like, just needed some dialogue. I don't know. I mean, overall, I like this movie, but there were just some things that I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. I know it's a cult classic, and a lot of people older than me who are probably watching this like it. You know, I did. I like the epic imagery that, for all the heavy metal bands, but it just, I mean, I'll watch it again because I really did enjoy this, but at the same time, just a couple of weird things do make this it's still a dang good movie. With the $10,000 swords that Arnold held when he was the governor, I think in his office or something like that. But yeah, so if you want an epic adventure that's pulpy, great production values, and I mean outside of a couple of weird choices and an anticlimactic battle, I recommend you watch Conan the Barbarian.